I talked about this earlier today. Hopefully you noticed, but if not, I'll remind you. I was out all last week, right? Some family time, saw the parents, saw my brother, nieces, nephews, all that kind of stuff. And while sports is, we're a sports family, it's always around. It's always on the TV, we're talking about it, all that sort of thing. For at least a handful of days, I was able to kind of not professionally follow sports, which it's nice to do occasionally, not very often. And I don't pretend to be like, I'm working the mines or anything like that. I'm not a roofer in July. Like, our job is not the most demanding, tough, whatever job. But it is nice to unplug a little bit. And then when you come back, I call it fresh eyes, right? You can watch the same game and see something new, right? You can watch the film, you can watch a game and see it from a different lens because you have your fresh eyes. So I watched the UNC UConn bowl game, right? The Wasabi Bowl in Fenway. And I think if I wouldn't have had that break, I would have written everything off for UNC. I would have said, who cares? The bowl game doesn't matter. I would have said, Bill Belichick is going to bring in a whole bunch of new guys and the team's going to be completely different for game 1 of next year. So this is all dust in the wind. But then this morning, and I did watch the game as it happened live, but it was, like I said, family talking, right, grabbing some food, hanging out, whatever. I watched it this morning, a rewatch, where I could go back and look at every play. It was embarrassing focus. The team wasn't locked in. And again, my reaction was, that's explainable with the Belichick circus, right? How could you be focused with it's Shooter McGavin and Happy Gilmore? How am I supposed to putt with all that going on? I forget what the exact quote was. Go back to your shanties. With all that Belichick stuff going on, how are we supposed to prepare for a bowl game? Shouldn't it have locked you in even more? You have the opportunity to play for the greatest coach of a generation, maybe of all time, but you had an audition against UConn in the Wasabi Bowl. He may not have been in attendance, but you know he was watching the game. You know he's going to pour through the film. You know if you go into the portal, he's going to have some level of, we need to recruit that guy back to the program if you're somebody he wants to have back in the program. Shouldn't you have been locked in? Freddie Kitchens, who acted as the interim head coach, has already been named in the opening press conference for Bill Belichick as UNC head football coach. He said Freddie Kitchens is going to be his first hire. That's what your first hire put on the field. I'm going to make a kind of comparison here. What I hope will be treated the same way. Michael Merdinger was a quarterback that had to come in when Jacoby Criswell got hurt. Right, Jacoby Criswell, veteran, started most of the year, got knocked out of the game early. That's a bummer, by the way, for Jacoby. I hope that's not the last time in real, live action he gets to play football. Merdinger goes in. Merdinger's already been in the portal, right? He's there as do a solid to the program that brought him in at a high school. He's already in the portal. They kind of alternate for a while between Merdinger, a freshman, young guy, absolutely no experience, and Caleb Hood, who was a running back that also went in the portal and pulled his name out of the portal before the bowl game. First of all, that's bad coaching. I'm just going to say it like that. There is one thing you need from your team when you go to a third string, fourth string. Like Merdinger started the year as a fourth string quarterback because there was opening day starter Max Johnson, then there was Connor Harrell, then there was Jacoby Criswell, then there was at best case fourth string. If you're going to a fourth string quarterback, there's one thing you need from the rest of your team: confidence. You need people that believe he can do the job. And you put him in and then pull him out and let Caleb Hood, a running back, throw a touchdown. That is screaming, I don't trust him. And everybody else on the team is going to go, me neither. So if you don't trust him, don't play him. If you put him in, you have to be all in. Anytime Graham's producing the show, I go with a lot of sports movie references.
Right.
This time, sports television show. You a Friday Night Lights fan?
Yes.
The television show, one of my favorite shows of all time. The very first episode, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, the stud going to go play college ball, future number 1 overall pick, quarterback gets hurt. The scrawny backup quarterback has to go into the powerhouse everybody cares about at football game in Texas high school football. One of the feel-good chills moments of the game, or of the first episode, is when they're going to overtime and the captains have to walk out, and the head coach looks to the scrawny backup quarterback and says, Saracen, quarterback's captain, and he's got to go out there. Does it actually make him a better quarterback that he's walking out there with the captains for overtime? Heck no. And I know it's a TV show, but they're trying to get a point across, and I'm trying to get the same point across. Does it actually matter for his play that the coach did that? No. It matters for everybody else's confidence in him. He has to play the part. Fake it till he makes it. Freddie Kitchens didn't let Merdinger do that. The other thing that happened is Merdinger's in the portal, okay? One of the main storylines of that game was Merdinger's hurting himself for the portal. Who's going to want him out of the portal now? Yuck, 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 laugh it up. I hope that applies to Freddie Kitchens too. Team was flat. Gave him no reason to be confident in the quarterback with the Caleb Hood decisions. Where was Davion Goss as the game went along? He has a 100-yard game this season. He's a backup running back to Omarion Hampton. Omarion Hampton opts out. Goss goes in, gets a couple carries early, and then just kind of poof, disappears. You have to have faith in your guys. You lose the game, cool. I'm actually a fan of UConn. I have a buddy on the UConn coaching staff. I think they played a pretty darn good game. I think Jim Moore's got some things cooking up there. I don't think it's embarrassing to lose to UConn in a bowl game with so many opt-outs and your coaching situation going on. I think it's embarrassing to go into that game and have that type of focus. Or should I say that type of lack of focus. This is the kind of game it was for UNC. Caleb LaValle played really well at linebacker. Really well, to the point where he was the silver lining for many fans, right? If you patrol Twitter, you see, one thing I learned is LaValle's someone we can depend on, or LaValle's going to be a star. He's in the transfer portal already. That shows the game wasn't a team-first game for UNC. It was, let me get mine to build up my resume so I can bounce.
Yeah, he recorded a team-high 9 tackles, and then just like that, I was like, all right, that's good enough for my film.
It was...
Best of luck next year.
I'm not knocking LaValle. I'm not knocking him at all, especially if you feel like you won't be given a shot by the new coaching staff. You think they are going to bring in their guys. You haven't been shown the love. Take care of yourself. Eligibility is finite. Don't waste any of it. But it is kind of the vibe of that, which is everybody knew we're out for ourselves in this one. Good, bad, or indifferent. And I just don't love that was able to permeate through the team. And then you kick it to the next step. Do you know how you solve that? Do you know everything I just said could have been completely avoided if you found a way for Mack Brown to coach the game? You fired him before the NC State game, then let him coach the NC State game as a final farewell. What if you waited till after the NC State game, then fired him and let him coach the bowl game as a final farewell, and you knew the team would have been locked in for NC State? It's NC State. You're UNC. That game's going to be juice-filled anyway. Then the Mack Brown goodbye in the bowl game becomes a way you keep everybody locked in. You don't have that performance where, if you didn't get a kick return, it would have been worse. A lot of mishandled situations culminating in that final game. And I wish it was better than that. I do want to give a shout out, though, to that kick return. Chris Culiver. Chris Culiver is one of my favorite players in college sports right now. And he's not the most productive. Matter of fact, it's the cliche of stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Chris Culiver has not gotten many opportunities this year. And that offense for UNC, that playmaking group for UNC was stacked. right? At the beginning of the year, you had Omarion Hampton. You had Bryson Nesbitt, the tight end, Copenhaver, the tight end. You had J.J. Jones and Kobe Paysor and all these guys that could run all over the place. And they were going to be the first ones in line when opportunities arose to make plays. Chris Culiver stayed ready so he didn't have to get ready. And when opportunities came his way, however scarce, however rare, he was able to make the plays. He had a kick return touchdown for Boston College to make it 17-7, meaning the first score of the game for UNC. They were the 7. He had a 50-yard touchdown catch to take the lead against NC State. And he had a kick return for a touchdown to make it 10-7, where they were the 7, right? First score game for UNC versus UConn in the Wasabi Bowl, which is like, all right, that's good. He's a good player. Sounds like they want to get him the ball in space. He caught 6 passes this year. 6. One of them was a 50-yard touchdown. Another was another 46-yard catch against your rival NC State. He had 5 kickoff returns. Obviously, there are some touchbacks and those sort of things, but he had 5 kickoff returns where he tallied statistics this season. He scored 2 90-plus yard kickoff returns for touchdowns on 5 opportunities. 11 times he was the ball carrier this season. He scored 3 50-plus yard touchdowns. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. You don't need 80 touches. You don't need 100 catches to have an impact. Shout out to Chris Culiver.